Hello comrades, and welcome to my Romanian opinion on Fallout 4. And then make one lot with me, make one lot Palora. I have reached level 41 in-game with my only character. I haven't tried anything else at the moment. I've played for almost 4 days. And I don't mean with breaks, that's total game time. 3 days, 19 hours, 29 minutes. I believe I have played enough of Fallout to make my opinion, to form my opinion on the game, and I know enough from what I've seen, but not all, obviously, to express my opinion to you and maybe help make up your mind on the matter. First things first, I'll start with the end, obviously. It's good, but... and that's all you need to hear. If you enjoyed Fallout 3, play Fallout 4. If you enjoy Skyrim, play Fallout 4. If you enjoyed Fallout New Vegas or the original Fallout, you may wanna wait. Either wait for some DLCs, wait for the GEC, the Garden of Eden Creation Kit editor. It's a throwback to Fallout 2. So you might want to wait until the editor gets out as well, so more mods pop up. Because the game is far from perfect. It is a Bethesda Fallout game. It is not an Obsidian Fallout game. It is not an original Fallout game. It plays totally different. It feels totally different. And some of you might not like that. To be fair, I did start the game prepared to hate it, expecting to hate it, expecting to find, oops, spoilers, and now everyone is going to pause and look over there, expecting to be severely disappointed and stop playing it. I was wrong. I enjoyed my time in Fallout. I still enjoy most of the time I spend in Fallout, and I will play some more, but for now, if you're in any of those categories, stop what you're doing and either play Fallout or don't play Fallout. If you want to know more, if you're not convinced, well, let's begin the impressions now. The biggest problem is the game feels a lot tuned down, feels a lot dumbified, streamlined, that's what I was looking for. You no longer have 3 stats to invest in, you have 2. Well, actually just 1, but let's say 2 for the sake of argument. You have the, what the fuck is this called? The perk chart. That's it, the perk chart. You have attributes, the special attributes: strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. These are my stats, obviously. These are the base stats, of your character. You know, how strong you are, how perceptive you are, how much you can endure, what's your charisma, what's your intelligence, and so on. You know this shit. You've played RPGs, you play Fallout, you play Skyrim, or not, hopefully. And then you have perks, and the perks go down. So each perk is related to the attribute above it. So, for example, Rifleman is related to perception. If I need to increase my Rifleman, I'm gonna need some perception or level, although apparently Riflemen just need perception too. The biggest problem is, obviously, the other games had 3 stats. They had attributes: strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, or luck, although with some variation over there. They had skills, which affected how good you were with weapons, so small arms, heavy arms, speech checks, barter checks, science, medical, and so on. There was a big fucking list of skills, mostly inherited from the original games. That's completely gone here. So if you want to make weapons, well, invest in intelligence and then use gun nut, the gun nut perk. And obviously the third stat that would affect your character growth was war perks. You got 1 every 3 or 2 or 4 levels, depending on how you build your character. Perks allowed you to do extra things. You would either get base increases to your skill, so get a gun at per or something like that, you would get about 20 skill points to your rifleman or your small arms perks or your firearms and so on. Or special things like when using, you randomly get a chance that some random stranger will show up in your battles and help you. Stuff like that. The perks have remained, the attributes have remained, the skills are gone. Which means that one attribute were a lot harder and a lot more, not exactly important, because charisma was a dumb stat almost. In Fallout 3 and New Vegas, as far as I remember, it didn't affect much except companion limit, and you couldn't have more than 2 anyway, so what was the fucking point? Speech and barter affected your negotiation skills. And they were also a lot harder to increase. They were really hard to increase, and how you arrange your stats, your attributes at the beginning of the game, hello Preston, mattered a lot more. So that's also kind of sort of gone. Sort of. I say sort of because now you can actually level up your attributes directly. Each level you get 1 point and you can put it anywhere you want. You can either increase a base attribute, which affects a bit some stuff. Strength lets you carry more. Perception gives your weapons more accuracy in VATS, which is the time slowy thingy the game does. Endurance, more health and action points. Charisma affects your chance to persuade. I'm gonna get back to charisma because it's a really weird system and not really good. Intelligence, the number of experience points you earn while doing anything, because almost everything you do will give you experience. Pick a lock, get experience. Kill a guy, get experience. Pickpocket a guy before you kill him, get experience. Kick a dog, get experience. Find a new place, get experience. It's good. I think intelligence is one of the biggest and most important attributes in Fallout 4. Agility affects the number of action points, your ability to sneak, so on. Luck, everything. It wasn't that important in previous games, although it helped. It helped to have it at least at base level, but if you had it at higher level, it affected your damage, your chance to do bigger damage, your chance to find better and so on. So it wasn't quite as useless as charisma, but most people didn't bother with it. And this one, it affects your recharge of critical hits, and I'm gonna get to that later, but that's kind of a big deal. It also affects your chance to get more experience, encounter more enemies, get better loot from them, and so on and so forth. Now, you can do that. You can increase any attribute you want, and you might want to think, well, why don't you just do that? Just max all the attributes. Well, because you can also, depending on your level of attribute, get some really impressive, interesting, or useful perks. For example, your ability to resist damage. Base damage without any armor, you can take more 30, 40, 50 damage resistance. Well, if you're also level 46. You can see here the requirements at the bottom. So there's that. You can pickpocket somebody. Better, easier, twice as easy, and you can steal equipped item and so on. You could, for example, have access to gun mods, which basically allows you to improve your guns in a different way. You can also improve hack computers, open locks, randomly get experience for no reason. Although this one's a bit interesting because the lower your intelligence, the greater the chance. I'm at max intelligence. I'm over max intelligence. I'll get to that later, maybe. But it's still nice to have. Randomly get experience. Fine, give me that. Or randomly also get free time to experience for all the kills for a short period of time. Sure, I'll take it. So there are reasons not to just dump all of your level points in the attributes. The thing is, almost all the previous games, or maybe all of them, can't remember exactly, had a level cap. Meaning, well, you had to think on where you're gonna place your points, because they were limited, and you couldn't just be basically level up everything. Fallout 4, as far as I know, as far as everyone has said, including the developers, there is no level cap, which is great and not so great. It's great because it means even if you put a random point in pickpocket because the fucking animation just confused you, oh, that looks like he's lockpicking. I want to lockpick. I'm gonna put a point here. Oh wait, that's actually pickpocket for some fucking reason because 1/4 of the animation just shows him pickpocketing as opposed to opening a lock, which also seems very similar to this one, which is the one I wanted. But yeah, if you waste a point, it's not that big of a deal. You have endless levels, supposedly. You could just do whatever you want. You want to max charisma? Go for it. You want to max intelligence later because you're a dumbass like I was? Go for that as well. You want to get all the perks? You can do that. It also means everyone is gonna do that. Initially, your starting character is gonna look differently, mostly. But over time, almost everyone's gonna basically, well, over time, giving enough time, everybody's gonna have everything maxed out. So there's no difference in, end level stuff. You can call something without an end level. The problem is obviously that basically makes replayability kinda moot. What's the point of starting with another character if I can just eventually get all the stuff I want to try? You don't have that incentive. Well, I tried the 5th with, abilities and attributes affecting 5th skill, so sneaking, lockpicking, pickpocketing. What if I try just, a dumb brawler, somebody who's just strength, no intelligence, and he just cleaves people in half? Well, you can do that in here as well. And the other problem is, because of this, because there's no restrictions, because you can upgrade your attributes at will, there's kind of an ideal starting character. There were great builds, superior builds in the beginning, but in Fallout 4 there's a perfect starting character, almost perfect. So basically, if you want to have the most fun, just invest in here. My suggestion, intelligence, max it out. First thing you want to do, max out intelligence. Charisma, also max it out. And the reason is charisma affects your speech. Well, your chance to succeed in charisma checks. And you want that maximum. Basically, if you have it at 10, you will never fail a charisma check. I'll get back to that. And you also want strength 6, so you can carry more. That's not really that important. So, intelligence, charisma, and if you still have the points, luck. And then everything else comes from that. You want intelligence first, because it gives you more experience. More experience means you level faster, means you can put points faster, means you get better faster. So, there is no point in not starting with max intelligence. None. There is no point. Absolutely none. It also unlocks quite a big part of the game, like modding weapons, opening computers, modding science, chemicals, robotics. That's a big part of the game, and you kind of want to do it. Now, charisma might not seem like a big deal, but the game's dialogue and options are severely limited. I mean, unbelievably so. To the point where most of the game is just combat. I mean, combat and combat and combat and combat and combat. Almost all of the encounters will end in combat, or even basically be combat and only combat. You will encounter something that will be aggressive from the start and you get to fight it. So, having your charisma at maximum will allow you to skip some encounters, avoid some battles in the rare moments where you actually encounter something that a dialogue option that will actually give you that possibility. So you don't really want to miss out on the chance to not have to fight. Trust me, you will get tired of fighting everything, everywhere, at all times. So if you can avoid the battle, that's just great. Do it. Avoid it. More importantly, charisma and only charisma affects your chance to do other stuff when you actually have dialogue. If you want to find some more information, charisma check. If you want to demand more money, charisma check. If you want to convince someone to do something that helps you, charisma check, or something they wouldn't normally do, charisma checks. There are no more options to use your intelligence to, prove somebody that you're doing something is logical for them. So, it's an intelligent idea. Or use your intelligence to know that in fact the shit that somebody's trying to sell you is actually complete and utter junk. Or use your gun skill to convince somebody that, hey, I have the bigger gun and I'm gonna kill you before you're gonna kill me. Or use your explosive checks to disarm a bomb, or convince somebody not to cut a wire, or guide somebody through a bomb defusal experience, or your science ability or your medical ability to, make somebody better, or convince them to follow a certain treatment. None of that is in Fallout 4 anymore. It used to be in Fallout 3 to some extent. Fallout New Vegas did it quite well. The originals did it quite well, meaning you no longer have options. So unless your charisma is at max, you will not have any options other than shoot some dudes. There's almost no outcome, no conversation in the game that you can end without a charisma check and still not fight. There's some scripted events that no matter what you say, something will happen and it's gonna be a dialogue, but since there's no encounters where dialogue matters, because you can't actually go to, say for example, a raided party that kidnaps somebody and give them some money and talk to them. Somebody kidnap a guy, you can go talk to the raiders and, have options. Well, shoot them, obviously. Obvious option is kill everyone and rescue whoever's left. Option B, well, talk to them, maybe join them, maybe gain their trust, infiltrate, and then sneakily ensure the freedom of the guy you're trying to rescue. Option 3, give him some money. Hey, here's your bounty, here's your reward, or here's your, what the fuck is it called? Here's your money for letting this guy free. And that's that. Option 4, convince them that the guy is not really worth it, and maybe it would be a good idea just to let him go. I mean, they have to feed him, they have to clothe him, they have to make sure he doesn't die, or, he's not a waste of space, while at the same time convince them not to kill him because it would be convenient. Or, convince them that, hey, I'm a really badass in the wasteland, and you don't really want to fight me, because if you fight me, I'm gonna kill all of you and your dogs. So how about you just let him go and I don't slaughter all of them. Gun. I have encountered a raider I can talk to, and all of them, all of the encounters that have not been scripted, quest encounters, I mean really important quest encounters, big quest encounters, have been go to a place, encounter hostile enemies, all of them, without a change, are hostile, and fight them. Maybe if you're lucky, inside you will get a chance to talk to one guy for a bet. The dialogue is, limited, and the choices are extremely so. As a result, you don't want to miss on the few opportunities where you can actually change an outcome. Other than that, everything's scripted. Choose a dialogue option, it will basically be the same. There are some quests, but they're few and rare. And that's it. That's why you need charisma to be as important as it can be. Beyond that, you might want to increase luck because, yes, getting the idiot savant extra experience means extra levels faster. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Maybe Scrounger, it's not that big of a deal. Why you want to have Strength at 6 is so you can carry more. And they've increased by a lot. Not only the number of enemies and shit you find in encounters, but also the amount of useful stuff you find in encounters. Tin cans, you can use that for settlements. That thing, whatever that's called, it's life raft, same that. You're gonna need it for the settlements, pieces of it. A giant bag of concrete, yeah, that's useful. Bunch of glass, useful. almost anything you can pick off the ground is gonna have a use at some point. Mostly, you're breaking them down for raw material that you can use to upgrade your settlement, construct something, build weapon mods, build armor mods, improve your armor, and so on and so forth. Or just sell them, but that's just busy work. Most of the part, you're actually gonna drop some, weapons, just so you can carry more junk that you actually need to build a chair or a power plant or something like that. So as a result, not only does strength give you, I think, 20 points per strength, or maybe 10 points of carry weight per strength, but also at 6 you can get strong bag, which allows you to carry plus 50 extra carry weight. There's also another mod that might be useful if you don't like companions, and that's the fuck me if I can remember where it was, because pictures, can I not have see the name? Oh, there it is. The Lone Wanderer allows you, because it's charisma based, to take 15% less damage and increase your carry weight by 50, by 100, or by 100. So you can carry more and take less damage when you're alone, when you don't have a companion, unless you have with the exception of the dog. The dog does not count as a companion in that sense. So you want to carry as much as you can, so you can build up and get your stuff better. You also want to get more experience or intelligence. You also want to not basically fail the few chances you actually get to choose a different outcome. So charisma, and then everything else is just eventually you'll max out everything anyway, because you have max intelligence. You're getting more money from the charisma checks. You're also getting more experience because of the charisma checks. When you actually do charisma checks, you do get experience when you succeed. So there's that. So it don't really matter. So intelligence and charisma are, basically intelligence maxed is vital. It is something you should always get at the start. And then strength, charisma, and then the rest of them. Perception, endurance, and agility. Sure, if you want to spread out, eventually do something different, be better at something, there's no penalty from not having good agility. Unless you really want to sneak. Which kind of maybe. But yes, unfortunately, the leveling up is simplistic and disappointment, and so is the dialogue. Dialogue is really, really, really simple, which is not a good idea. That's why I said people who like the original Fallouts or the New Vegas Fallout are gonna be severely disappointed when you're a genius because you have intelligence 11. There is no way to actually do anything with that in conversation because, you're not charismatic. And I understand why charisma affects settlements because, if you are gonna lead and unite people, you need charisma. Hitler had charisma, Stalin had charisma. I know I picked the worst examples ever, but that's how they led people. So if you want to lead people, you need charisma. But if you want to convince people to do something, charisma isn't the only thing you can use. As I said, you can use logic with them, intelligence, you can use science. I know a thing or two about computers, and if you don't press Control Alt Delete, you can actually do something. Or, don't smash it with a gun. I know something about guns. If you do this, this, and that, or explosive, I can make a bomb out of this shit just given to me. Or, fuck it, just be wisdom. I've been here before, and I know that guy is gonna shoot me, so none of those options exist in Fallout 4 anymore, and that's a real shame. It's simplified so much, it's too bad. Also, yes, you can have more power armors. You can have companions getting the power armors, and you have your own power armors. That's why you can actually have more power armors, and you should have more power armors. Also, welcome to the settlement, a big part of Fallout 4. Unfortunately, like all things in Fallout 4, the settlement kind of feels slightly rushed, and compared to, say, the real-time settlers mod, incomplete or, streamlined again. That's the word we're gonna use. It's an impressive display, and it's a lot easier to use. It's sort of a lot easier to use, but also not really. It has less variation, it has less diversity, less options when building it, but it's more intuitive, to a point, and the biggest advantage it has over the real-time settler modes, these things, the chairs, the beds, the stairs, the platforms, everything has its own pathfinding mesh. So if I have a guard post here, like I do, and I assign a guard to it, the guard will, as you can see, or the companion, climb up the ladder, get over there. Real-time setters did not have that. So you could build in real-time settler a giant, enormous tower that you and only you can actually climb up there. For the companions, it didn't exist. All the NPCs, well, it's something in the way. I don't know what it is, and I can't climb up there. You can do that in Fallout 4, and it's a big deal, and it's really nice, and it's complex. You also have a lot of options with weapons. You have to maintain the settlements, as you can see here. If I remember the button, which I might not be, it's also a problem. You have peoples, food, water, power, defense, beds, happiness, and size. The biggest problem with the settlements is the size limit, which limits how many objects you can place. You cannot build infinitely without using some of the mods that are already out there, but yeah, they're a bit finicky and might, corrupt your saves. So I haven't used them yet. But the size limit isn't actually fixed. So each settlement will have a different size limit, which makes it interesting, as it's, how best do I use this place and how to efficiently defend it, build defenses for it. But also knowing, well, if only I had one more room, I'll put another power plant, or another filter, or another plant, or more beds, or a building, or something like that. So annoying, interesting at the same time. I'm okay with it. I wish the size was a bit bigger. At the same time, I'm pretty sure if the size was a bit bigger, I'll still go, well, now that's a bit bigger, I want it to be bigger. and bigger, and bigger, and oops. That's me. It also has an interesting power sub-game to it. So some, as opposed to being glitchy. It's glitchy, it's buggy. I have yet to encounter a game-breaking bug, so I'm not going to talk that much about it. It's still early in its release, patches will be made. There were some game-breaking patches for other people, some audio-related bugs that crash the game, some crashes if you didn't have the latest drivers for NVIDIA or AMD. I read some crashes if you had the latest driver from NVIDIA, so roll back there. But for the most part, Fallout 4 is a stable game, without mods, obviously. Unfortunately, also spoilers. Yes, you can have a cannon in the settlement, and that's the biggest thing with the settlement. They kind of feel tacked on, but more important. For example, another game that had a settlement was Obsidian's Pillar of Eternity. Was it Pillar of Eternity? No, the latest RPG made by Obsidian. It had a castle which you could take control, and it really felt out of place, buggy as all fuck, and just it didn't belong in the game. It just didn't feel great at all. It was it was a token settlement. You can have a castle. Occasionally you get to do something there. That's not the case with the Fallout 4 settlements. They're not a big part of the plot, but they're big enough that you can invest a lot of time in it. And I believe 1/3 of all the time I invest in the game has been creating these settlements, upgrading them, building stuff, fortifying them. There is a lot of freedom to do here, but they also think, they also, rightly so, believe that some people might not enjoy the settlements, and that's okay. So that's why they're not a big part of the plot, or they're basically at the edge of the plot. You can do anything you want and basically ignore settlements until about approaching the end. You're gonna run into a quest that requires you to have a working, big settlement. That's what I hear. I haven't encountered that quest yet. I've been intentionally avoiding the main plot because it's kind of silly and stupid, and I didn't like it, and I had no no desire to continue it, which is kinda a big deal when the plot is supposed to be this important. You lose somebody very dear to you and you go to find them. And your character can either do that and constantly that or not give a fuck. Which leads to ludonarrative dissonance. Which is bad. But overall, I do believe the settlements are a very fun part of the game for some people. And it can be for you, or you could totally almost ignore it. Which is fine as well. It's an open, single-player sandbox game, more or less. Play it as you want. Unfortunately, if you want to be a complete asshole, not so much. As some have said, you can be a sarcastic savior of the world or a goody-goody to choose savior of the world. You don't really get the option to fuck the world. You don't get the different factions from New Vegas and the impact and different gameplay that comes with them. I've played with some factions, not so much with others. They are supposed to be opposed to each other to some extent, but you're still gonna save the wasteland, more or less. That said, there is plenty to do if you don't want to do settlements, and I've actually skipped a lot of things. But while this map might seem big, it's actually not. It's the smallest map in the game. In all of the games, I believe, so I'm pretty sure you can just jog from one end of the map, from where I am, for example, from there to there in about 30 minutes. The map looks big, but that's a trick. The icons are just big. For example, looks big, yeah? That's the area where I'm at. It's not that big, as big as it looks. It really isn't. For example, from here to there, 30 seconds. Or less. That's it. It's small. The map is small, and it uses some good visual tricks to confuse you, to trick you into thinking, oh, it's further away, look at that, it's pretty far. I like the fact that I can see it, but it's pretty far. Actually, no, it's not. The further a thing is from you, the more stretched out the terrain goes, so you get the impression it's far, but it's not. Also, this fucking raider has been here all the fucking time, and not only is the map not really big, and kinda... Also, I can't lift the dog because it's too heavy. Sure, I can lift the car, fine, but the dog, too heavy. Yep, I'm there already. But, yes, where was I? Alright, I was at the map is small. The map is small, the world map is kinda small. There's still plenty of, well, different instances in the game, which is also annoying since the loading time seems to be bigger. Hello. I didn't realize I had lights, working lights here. At the same time, again, settlements. It's a good idea. I really like the settlements. I can't stress this enough. The settlements are really good. The building of the settlements, a bit buggy, a bit limited, a bit repetitive, and really annoying. I mean, seriously. It's really hard to unite, create walls. You have to trick, abuse, cheat your way. Not really cheat, but, you know, if you want to build a wall, well, do that. Well, I want to build it like this now. No, it's going to go on top of that. But, I mean, and also, making sure you don't have massive gaps. It's really... What the fuck? Tedious. There we go. It's not perfect. It could be perfect, but it's not perfect. So, aligning walls, placing things exactly where you want them, it's tedious. It's tedious, it's sometimes not even logical, it's annoying, it's problematic, but, you know, the sheer volume of what you can do and the differences between what you can do and somebody else does is amazing. I have seen different people basically build stuff here. I build basically nothing here. Other people have turned this into the fucking Castle of Doom. You can do that, and it's a nice feature to invest your time in. If only the size limit wasn't that pressing, and I was gonna say if only you didn't need as many resources, but that's part of the charm, because it's like Fallout, see? Some people just use creator mode in Fallout, not Fallout, yes, Minecraft, and just build the Starship Enterprise. That's fine. Other people try to survive and use full survival mode, and that's good for them either. I don't mind. And some people go the middle way. They want to build great stuff, but they also want to kind of work for it, so they dig up or they dig in the ground, and then they use the resources to build and try to not go wild, try to build something from their hard work, ironically in a game, but that's fun. That was fun for me as well. I like digging in the ground, gathering all the rocks and iron I could find, and just build a castle with the resources I mine. And I think that's also a big part of why settlements in Fallout are enjoyable. Yes, it's kind of tedious to lump all the junk together and carry it all over the place to your settlements, but then you use that junk to create really impressive, fun things. And, make a place your own, design it your way. And, if you don't have enough iron, well, it's time to go get some. And that's fun, and I like that. Fortunately, the map it's not that fun. Plenty of places are still instances, despite promises to the contrary, which were changed. Oh, there will be no loading screens in the game. Yeah, that's not true. Plenty of loading screens, plenty of instance buildings, as in Fallout 3 and New Vegas. You open the door, you're now in a different area. You can't no-clip your way through the walls and be back outside, because there is no outside to the houses. Also, there is no inside to the houses you actually go in when the instance. So if you cheat and go through the wall in a house, you can actually enter through a door and teleport to another instance. There's nothing there, which is, well, it's sad, it's still doing that, but it's a limitation of the engine. There's a bunch of more buildings now that are considered outside buildings, so you can shoot inside, you can move around without a loading screen. There's not that many of them, and they're not that interesting anyway. The instances tend to be kind of big and multi-level and dark and dungeony, because that's what Bethesda does. It does dungeons. Unfortunately, it makes it a bit tedious to gather all the junk in a building and then lug it out through the kind of rather long loading screens. Speaking of loading screens, if you have a working SSD, you might want to install Skyrim on it. Depending on your SSD and your system, you can see a big difference from 6 seconds on loading the game from the start to 36 on a non-SSD, on an HDD, on a non-SSD drive. So if you have an SSD, install Skyrim on it. It will help a lot with the loading screens. Unfortunately, I don't, so for me it's kind of really tedious to go, oh, fuck me, another instance. Not only because I know I'll have to put up with loading screens, but also I know because it's going to be bigger than it's on the outside, and I'm going to have to wait a lot of time micromanaging my gear. That's unfortunately not the problem of the game. That's me. I'm a hoarder, like carrying everything I can. The problem is the menu doesn't make things easy because it's the same and it's fucking tedious and waste of space. The interface could be better, a lot better, a lot better. Unfortunately, it's unchanged from Fallout 3 and New Vegas, and it's still a pain in the ass, and God, somebody please do a better UI of it, because it's shit. It's shit, it's being shit, and Bethesda doesn't get it. I mean, I understand there is a limit to how much you can, how well you can design an interface to work on consoles. Please, for the love of God, somebody fix it. But despite the interest in the loading screen, there are no instances outside spaces, noticeably so, at least on my system. I don't see, frame drops when I supposedly transit to another region, other square of the map. But the map is small-ish, It's the smallest of all the Fallouts and the Elder Scrolls, as far as I can tell. It's also crowded a lot, and I believe that they've managed to achieve something that even the original Fallouts had achieved, and that is give you the feeling of actually using power armor. Power armor isn't another piece of cloth you put over. Power armor is something you get into. It's a vehicle of doom and destruction, and in the game it feels like that. It's, well, assuming I can actually increase the volume so you can hear it. It stomps around.
Someone dressing up like him.
Okay, seriously?
Crime in Good Neighbor has a new enemy.
No copyright claims, please. It stomps around. It takes bullets like a champ. It takes no fall damage. If you actually upgrade it properly, you can actually have a jetpack on it. It creates shockwaves when it lands. It looks awesome. It also has its own light as opposed to the Pip-Boy, sorry. It's almost immune to radiation. It's damage resistance, amazing, and it's a asset. Lasts about an hour with the power core, cause okay. But I understand why they did that. It makes no sense logical, gameplay wise. None. No sense, not gameplay wise, from the logic of the world. Also, it doesn't require help, oxygen. You can just. I need to actually find a bigger river. You don't swim in power armor, which you could do in the other games. Well, Fallout 3 and New Vegas. You walk at the bottom of the river, ocean, whatever, and you don't give a fuck, because that's how power armor was portrayed, as a completely isolated suit. Hello, bugs. Speaking of that, it increases your carry weight, it increases your strength, although I have some armors that actually give me better carry weight, but that's, mods. Not mods, armor mods as opposed to player-made mods. And power armor just is amazing, and I understand why they have the... hello. Why they have the... as you can see, at the bottom right, the one where it says core, that's your fuel. One core goes up to 100. I have 50 of them because I've been really hoarding them. And I would probably die of radiation here, but my power armor doesn't give a shit because it's a power armor. And it looks awesome. And you can change the look. It's great. Power armor in Fallout 4 is one of the best power armor portrayals in any game. Well, and that's me before I even get in the jetpack. It's great. It feels great. It feels as it should be as it should feel. It feels better than any of the Fallout games, including the original. I mean, the original was limited in its capabilities because of the engine, so you can excuse it, but as they describe it, as basically a walking tank, immune from radiation and, well, almost immune from radiation, and biochemical hazards, it's exactly that, allowing you to carry the biggest weapons and transforming you into basically a walking tank. So you can carry a gun, a fucking nuclear launcher, in power armor. Well, you can actually carry that without power armor in the game if you have your strength requirements. But, it's easier with power armor, and that's great. And while I really don't like, lore-wise, the fuel efficiency of it, having to use power cores every hour, in-game hour, I do understand why they did the gameplay-wise, because if you could just run around in power armor all the time, it would make the game a lot easier. Especially when they give you power armor in like the first 10 minutes of the game. 10 minutes after the game properly starts. You have the, some might say, tedious cinematic intro, oh, we're pre-war now, it's my house, that's my dog, and it's all happy, although there is a war with China going on. But, we're all happy, and then blah, 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 stuff happens, you're in the vault. But, the game really starts when you're out of the vault, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want, as opposed to being on a long, scripted set of events. on a railway of scripted events, where you can't actually do anything other than, oh, look at the scenery. Huh. A long scripted set of events, which most people think it robbed them of their customization option. I mean, you're no longer make generic man, Palora, who basically did whatever the fuck Palora thinks he did in the future. You're generic man, who had a family, a house, a car, a child, that wife, exactly that house, exactly that robot, exactly that name for his child. He lived in that place. He was that guy. He had that backstory. He no longer has your backstory. He has a backstory. So it's no longer you. It's you who are trying to kind of mold him the way you like him, but also makes a complete mess of the plot. For example, before the war, before the Vault, your guy was apparently a loving father and a loving husband. After the war, you can turn him completely in a ponce. Well, yeah, that happened, but I don't give a shit. I'm gonna build my settlement up. Yeah. Complete and utter narrative dissonance. There's so many things that don't make sense, and it's bad. Yeah, it's bad. Anyway, I'm gonna rush this ahead because I'm really extending this line all the way around. As I said, the game is good, but it's shallow, and that's the biggest problem with the game. It's shallow. A lot of the options are there just to be there. They did a great job at actually looking at what the most famous mods did and improving it. Well, we have mods for the weapons now, lots of them. We have mods for the armor, lots of them. We have we have armor that goes on top of your clothes, which is great. Just, there is a limited amount of clothes or armor types you can actually put above them, because, we like to be token with our features. They're there, just they're not very deep or impressive. Which makes it pretty hard to take serious. Oh, we have this faction, which is really not boring or major or that impressive. We have these people, we have a bunch of lines of dialogue. So many of them that just don't really do anything for anything. They're just there. You can kind of talk to them, they'll say their one line and then move on. It's the Bethesda way of doing it. And that's not really good. We have this settlement, which is kind of limited in a lot of parts. It's great, it's impressive, and it has some things that the mods didn't have, but it's still limited. A lot. And that feeling continues throughout the game. I mean, it's shallow. It's really shallow. It helps that it has dialogue, but God, the plot is uninteresting. I've made some progress on it because, well, I needed to actually make progress on a faction, which I guess it's okay, but it never tells you that. It never tells you, well, you need to go progress. From what I understand, I knew what the problem was, so I did progress a bit in the main mission, main story, so I could not have to repeat the same mission again until I figured out, wait a minute, I've done this before. Why is nothing happening?
I don't think I can pick this.
It's a mess of features that feel like token features and are not really developed, and that's not new. Skyrim was the same, Oblivion was the same, Fallout 3 was the same. New Vegas was kind of the same, but they were limited by the engine at the time they had. And they also did a lot more with questing and the dialogue, and it made the world more interesting. Fallout isn't. Fallout 4 isn't that interesting. Everything looks different, but it's no difference between a building with raiders or a building with mutants. It's still a building with enemies that you shoot in it. It may look a bit different, but overall there is no point for you being there, except if you actually had a quest to be there. You have to go in there and get the MacGuffin. It's always the MacGuffin. The MacGuffin is either kill somebody that has the MacGuffin, kill somebody that's doing something with the MacGuffin, or get the MacGuffin and there's somebody in the way because they just happen to be there. We couldn't have you go in a place to get the MacGuffin without opposition, so you have to have opposition, and the opposition is almost always the same. Raiders with better guns, super mutants, robots, and mutants and ghouls and it shall is repetitive, and I don't think the game has a good replayability because of the changes to the leveling up that I mentioned. There's really no reason to start the game, as far as I can tell. I am going to start the game because I want to redo my character from the start, invest points differently from the start. It's going to make much of a difference. And I want to see the female dialogue. But, I want to see how easy is it to level up if you invest in intelligence from the start. Because I didn't. I was dumb enough, I didn't read the dialogue, and I was like, I like this, I kind of wanted this. And then I realized, well, shit, I can't carry much because I didn't have the strength. It would actually help to carry a lot. But at the same time, it might help to have all intelligence max so I can get the experience faster, so I can do what I want faster.
Go check that out.
Which is nice.
Check it out.
There are there's a lot of stuff in the game. Too much of it is just there. It has no bearing on the plot, it has no bearing on the story, it doesn't feel different than any other stuff that's just there, it's just there. And, for some of us, that's not enough. For me, apparently it was. I have to say this, and I have to repeat this. I complain a lot about the game, I think it's boring and repetitive at times. At the same time, I can't stop playing it. I mean, the moment I got this, I kind of disappeared from other games I used to play, and just, I'm busy with Fallout. I want to see more, and I still want to see more. I want to see, however, if I can actually stand starting the game again. I might not be able to do that, which is a problem if you finish the game now and then DLCs and mods come out. Not that there aren't mods already, it's like hundreds of mods already for Fallout. Some doing some really big stuff, like increasing the number of clothes that would actually have armor parts on top of it, which is nice, or changing the dialogue system, or better graphics and stuff like that, better gore and stuff like that, better dialogue. So there's gonna be some reasons. There are gonna be reasons to start the game over again. New DLCs and improvements and bug fixes and mods that change the way the game plays fundamentally, or mods that just add stuff. But starting it vanilla again, I don't know. I'm gonna try it with a female because at least I want some variety. But I have a feeling I will go, fuck this quest again, because I don't take well to repetition lately in my age nowadays. And if the quests themselves don't offer me any choices other than what I already have done before, and if I keep doing the same thing I've done before with the same outcome, I don't think I'll finish the game ever. Because if I start the game again, I'll have done stuff already once. If I play the game, I don't finish it, and I go, well, fuck it, I'll wait for DLC. It's gonna be better when I'm trying the same thing the third time, when I have to basically do the same quest again for the third time. I don't think the game has the repetitive value you might want from something like this. At the same time, the game is big enough. I mean, in 3 days of constant playing, that's 46 hours. 46? What the fuck am I talking about? It's 48 with 24. It's just 3 days of constant playing. I've barely made it to level 41. I barely made some progress to the main plot. Not that it's interesting or tempting me to do so. I've done a lot of things with settlements, which for whom the quests are really repetitive, really boring. I mean, all of the quests are go here, kill some dudes, or come back. And most of the quests are just go here, kill these dudes, and that's it, and then come back to talk to us. Some of the quests are go here, kill some dudes, get some thing back, But the variation in the randomly generated quest, and there are randomly generated quests for the settlement especially, is really small. To be fair, all of the quests are the same, or go here, do that, and I'm not sure I'll be able to stand doing that over and over and over again. And the game feels unfinished. There is plenty of things they haven't added, they could have added. And that's me finding the key finally here. Because Palora is blind. It happens. And if you don't like running around these places, you might not like the game, because you run around places like this forever. It's just on and on and on. The enemies are annoying. Fuck the ghouls. Quests are boring. The engine's kinda old. I mean, it looks great, but it's still an old engine, and it's tied to the frame rates. Performance was okay, iffy, problematic at times. You can fix it, no problem. The controls are better, especially the shooting feels a lot better. I'm rushing ahead just so I can, finish the video before I reach the fucking 1 hour mark. But it's still not at the same level as, say, Call of Duty. It's better, and for the first time in all the Fallout game, I actually enjoy myself using laser weapons, which is something I don't know. It helps that the laser gun I have at the moment is really good. Double damage against everything. Really good. The settlements are a great aspect of the game. The weapon modification is also really good. Although I feel like there aren't enough different weapon types. For example, the assault rifle and the combat shotgun look the same, with minor variation, but they look the same. The enemy groups are a bit larger, which is a good thing and a bad thing. The view range is impressive, although the visual tricks to make stuff look further. I like it. I mean, I know it's there, and I still like it. It looks good. I can see that building of that. Why? It doesn't matter that it's closer than it looks like it is. The graphics are okay. I mean, it's not impressive. The biggest drawback is that when you build your character, like immediately after you build your character, you get to look in the mirror you're looking for, and there's no reflection. That really messed with me. I mean, come on, it's 2016 already. And you have no reflections and almost no transparency. There's some transparency. For example, a gas mask, the fireman one, the big visor one with the big window in front of it, that doesn't have transparency, so you can't see your character's face, just black. At the same time, useless shit like a car has transparent glass in it. Houses, no transparent glass. The glass is broken or black. You're inside, you can't see outside because no transparent glass. Most houses don't have glasses outside because they're all broken. Makes sense. Nuclear war and all that, but some glasses are completely black. What? And yet the sight on the razor rifle is transparent. Gas masks, no. Cars, transparent, some of them. Windows, no. Why exactly is that? Anyway, there's plenty of that. Obviously bugs, this can be fixed. Control issues, the fucking UI is still retarded. It's tedious to move through. And it's weird. For example, you can read the letter that's in 2 parts, and you can scroll down partially in the letter, but then you need to change page by pressing E to read one more line. It's like they didn't kind of fit everything. It's one more line. Just fit it all on the same page. I need to press E to change page for one more line. What the there's the instance houses everywhere. The carry weight limit is a bit weird. I mean, it's partly my problem, a lot my problem, because I like to get everything, as you can see here. But there's so much junk everywhere and so much useful stuff that you can't carry everything, and it's annoying me. But yeah, it's mostly my fault. The enemies are really bullet spongy, especially on hard difficulty level, which is why I went to easy, because when you waste 4 mags on one dude, well, not one dude, the raiders are really shit. The human enemies are kind of weak, especially if you shoot them in the head. Super mutants and mutants, well, they do take a lot of beating, and the higher level they are, they take a lot of beating. When you use basically mags and hundreds of bullets to kill one super mutant, it doesn't become fun. I mean, the enemy AI is better than before. Not by much, they use some cover, throw some grenades. And they should have made them smarter. They didn't, they made them bullet spongy. Shoot them a lot. That's difficulty, apparently, in 2016. It's not like anyone else isn't doing that, but it's annoying. Also, at one point, you know, in New Vegas and Free, I've complained that the size of everything isn't proportionate to your characters. So you're gonna run next to a plane, and the plane's gonna be really tiny and small. It's like, nobody could fit in that. Unless somehow radiation has made everyone a giant, the cars are not to size. They fixed that in Fallout 4. I mean, the cars really look like, I could fit there. I could fit 4 people there. That's a car. I can get in this vertibird. It's a big enough vertibird. And so on. I could, for example, if I didn't have power armor, I could get in this one-seater car. Pretty sure there were more cars over there. And yes, I changed again to another video. Not really. This one is actually live play. That was a recorded video because I wanted to show you this is what you're gonna do in Fallout. Go in a building and stay there. Look at that APC over there. It looks silly. I mean, it's Bethesda, logically speaking. But you could fit power armor in it. Mostly. You could get in the truck, and you could drive it. Mostly. Some of them aren't. To size. But at the same time, they still... Now, speaking of jump scares. Come on. You want me to be on the ground? You're not gonna dig your way in the... There it is, right behind me. Couldn't see him. No warning, just pop behind me. That's fucking retarded. That's stupid. Third person is a bit easier to use than it was in previous games. Still not a superior alternative to first person. It's good, just not that good. Who the No. I'm out of ammo. No. How many are there? Oh shit. That's one of the other mods they stole. Bash, you hope. Oh crap. Fine. How is our grenades gonna supposed to work against those? Stab him! Stab him! You can actually use grenades while selecting your weapon. You just need to equip it from the inventory, right? So, select it, and then if you hold Alt, because there's a fucking button limit, because consoles. There's jumping in. How many are there of you? Fuck. So, that happened. Yeah, I'll see you some other time. Don't care anymore if I'm starting the game anyway. So yeah, I was at the proportion. Proportions are good, better now. Except they've limited themselves to the same amount of people. So remember when in Oblivion you had an army, hand quotation, and there was 7 dudes? That's kind of the same here. You can have, I mean, the settlements you integrate into your alliance usually start small, like 2 people. That's a settlement. 2 people, 1 house and a field. That's a settlement in the apocalypse. Some things feel proportionally well, others are just not. 2 people are a settlement. There's plenty of things wrong with Fallout 4, but it's still fun. Still a good game, still an enjoyable game. So, yeah, if you heard this, if you liked Fallout 3, go play it. If you didn't, wait for patches, wait for DLCs, wait for mods. Or hopefully, and this is my hope, wait until Bethesda gives the rights to the Fallout, to another Fallout game to Obsidian, and hope they don't just make it another buggy mess, because Obsidian kinda knows what to do with it. Unless the perk chart is fixed. I mean, you can still move around it, so in dialogue options, you have a high enough intelligence, you can use that as a trigger in a dialogue choice. See, the Obsidian might be able to get around all of these little limitations and simplification that they've added, that Bethesda has added to the game engine. And I hope they do that, because I'm sorry to say this, and you know, it kind of feels bad to say this, but Bethesda has almost no idea how to make an interesting quest. I mean, it's not that they have the time to make it as big as it should be. A quest should be bigger. An interesting quest should be big. A quest shouldn't end in four lines. And well, Bethesda, Obsidian knows. Obsidian knows how to make interesting quests, interesting character, interesting worlds to play. This is generic Apocalypse number 4. I'm sorry. It's good. It's a good game, and I know I rant a lot about the game. I still like it. I'm still gonna play it. I'm still gonna at least try to play it once I make a new character that's female and has the starting stats a bit different. I'm not sure it's gonna keep me interested though, and that's something you need to are 4 days. Let's say 70 hours of gameplay enough for you for $60 still. For me, it kinda is. Although it helps that I got the game as a present, so didn't spend any money on it. But fucking die! But is it for you? Do you want, just a fuck about place? You can fuck about, you can build some buildings, you can kill some enemies, you can jump power armor, if you have the power, battery life for it. But it's shallow, not really interested, or, it's shallow, it's nothing special, it's just generic Apocalypse, number 4. There's raiders, there's cannibals, there's mutants, there's apparently really advanced in synthetics. Oh, so we're stealing that plot from somewhere else. Yeah. It's there. It's a lot better than Fallout 3. It has a lot of gameplay improvements, a lot of, mods. A lot of mods that were in Fallout 3 and 4 have been integrated in New Vegas, have been integrated in Fallout 4. And that's a good thing. I mean, I hope they at least thanked the modders for the idea, like settlements, sprinting using our AP, action points, grenades that you don't need to hold in your hand, then you can still throw them when you have the weapon, power armor that actually feels like power armor. There was a mod for New Vegas that did that. I'm not sure if there was one for Fallout 3. Pretty sure there was, but a lot of good things in Fallout 4 are, let's say, inspired by a lot of really successful mods in Fallout 3 and New Vegas. Does that make it a bad game? No! Because unlike mods, their core gameplay in... that's what I was saying about cars. You can fit in this car, if you, sort of. Well, not in power armor, but you can fit in the car. Unless I hold that. It's a good game. It might not be the game for you. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Goodbye.